Well, you know what? This morning, we now turn our attention to our favorite parenting expert, Nikki Bush. She joins us in studio, and it's all about teaching your children to make good decisions.
Now, the brain works much like the gears of a car. As parents, we need to understand this analogy to help our children access their best learning state. This morning, creative parenting expert Nikki Bush shares this important information with us to start the new school year off with. Nikki, lovely to have you with us in studio.
Thanks, Ewan.
I think this is such an important topic for parents to really understand how the brain works.
It is essential that we understand how the brain works, Ewan, because what we're finding with stressed children is that they are getting stuck in what I call first gear. Okay. And you know, with a car, if you get stuck in first gear, it's the most uncomfortable, grating experience. And frustrating because you know that you've got to get out of that gear to function properly, for your car to drive optimally, to get the best performance out of your car. And it's exactly the same with our brains. So our brains shift gears depending on what's happening in our lives. And there are three main parts of the brain that we need to be aware of.
Let's address those. I mean, you did narrow it now to three different parts, three different gears.
Yes.
So what are they exactly?
Okay, so first gear is that reptilian brain, that survival instinct that lives at the base of our brain. So that's where we're in fight or flight, if we're having to respond to stresses in the environment. That's where all the automatic stuff happens, the breathing, you know, our heartbeat, all those things are controlled by that part of the brain. That's first gear. And second gear it's the mammalian brain, which is just above that. It's the emotional brain, the limbic system. That's where all our values and our emotions sit. That's where we bond with our mothers. Okay. And then we have the cerebral cortex, the grey matter, which is where we think, we do executive functioning, reasoning, planning, that kind of stuff. And that's third gear. So we move between these three gears all the time.
Yeah. So what can cause then, you know, maybe for a child, I guess you can also pull it to you know, grown up, you know,
Anybody,
later
really.
on, exactly, to get stuck in a certain gear. Let's say you are stuck in first gear. I mean, what causes that?
Okay, so any time a child feels fearful, for example, could be trauma, could be illness, it could be that they are watching their parents having an argument, it could be divorce, it could be death in the family.
Could be something that happened at school.
Could be bullying in the playground, it could be cyberbullying. Honestly, it can be anything that makes a child feel fearful or stressed. And that puts them straight back into first gear. So they downshift to first gear, they're in fight or flight. Okay. It may be that a child is continually scolded at home, put down. So there's many reasons why that happens, but we don't want them to get stuck there because it's not your optimum learning state. Because when you're in fight or flight, you are in survival mode. You have no energy to focus on the book that's in front of you or what the teacher's doing on the blackboard or the whiteboard or whatever it is. So you're not open to learning. Those neurological pathways are the brainwave frequency ratios are not like that. They're actually like a bird's nest.
Exactly.
Very difficult for new information to get into the brain when your brain waves are out of sync.
All right. Well, very interesting indeed. We're going to be back with Nikki on a little bit later on to just explain to us how we can move. If you are stuck in a certain gear, how do we move forward and help our children to optimally study and go about the school year with absolute confidence?